teams all around the world started making their research on that. Some of them spoke probably too early, and some of them seems to have been mixing up two things. One thing is the scientific discovery, and something else is the production. If the whole world is willing to have vaccine available and administered, then one single plant won't be sufficient. And probably it might be the case that the patent will be universal, offered to the world community. Otherwise, some countries will not be able to access it. And then some other plants will be called to manufacture enough doses to have all those who want the vaccine, all the medical and other health professional to have it, and the patients to receive it. So it's another question about the production of the vaccine and the administration of the vaccine.
So Stuart Bloomer, you hear it? It's not one space race, but two. The race to develop a vaccine. I believe there's something like 76 different attempts that are taking place, and then the race to mass produce it.
Yes, it's clear that when there is a vaccine or more than one vaccine, I mean, it'll take a long time before enough is produced to get it even to half the countries in the world. I mean, what we don't know, I think, at the moment is what kind of agreements have been signed between governments and manufacturers. I mean, I've been doing historical research on vaccine production. If we look back at the influenza epidemic of 10 years ago, we find that a number of countries, including most EU countries, had advanced purchase agreements with manufacturers, so they had first claim. We don't know if any such agreements have been signed right now. Another thing is, the quicker the vaccine is moved into production, and there are obviously going to be social and political pressures to get it out at warp speed, the risk is that it's too little research will have been done on side effects in distinctive populations. Not only won't we know about the duration of protection or the efficacy, but we won't know whether there might not be groups that will produce bad reactions. That happened with some of the influenza vaccines in 2009. And there are risks in trying to move it along very fast.
Yeah. So this is again, we can't stress this enough, Yannis Natsis. We're talking about a vaccine that, well, may never be efficient, or as in the case of SARS, may never be needed. We don't know anything because, again, we're in an unprecedented situation.
Yeah, 100%. And at the same time, what is also very interesting now with COVID-19 is that we see massive public investment. I mean, we need to remember that innovation is always the result of private, but also public investment. And we see governments recently here in Brussels, we had a high-profile pledging conference, a virtual one, where you could see governments from all around the globe pledging big amounts of money, considerable amounts of money. And therefore, I think their governments need to use their leverage to make sure that we get to this framework which will handle this scarcity of resources.